Hello, first graders. Miss Seals here in the science lab. I'm very excited for our very first science lab of the school year. Now, of course, things are going to look a little bit different since we're not at school. For right now, I'm going to be teaching you a lesson and doing a little demonstration. Once we get to come back to school face to face, then you will be getting to do these experiments and these investigations with me. All right, so for today, our target, or what we're going to be learning or focusing on, says I can identify, discuss, and demonstrate how to be safe in the science lab. So I know that in your science class with your teacher, you guys have been talking a lot about science safety and science tools and things that you can do to be a safe scientist, all right? So that's what we're gonna focus on today as well, along with a little demonstration. So I'm gonna show you one science tool that scientists use to be safe, and they look like this. Does anybody remember what these are called? We talked about these in kindergarten. You even got to wear them in kindergarten. If you said goggles or safety goggles, you are correct. These are called safety goggles, and scientists use these to protect their eyes and to keep things from getting into their eyes. So for today's experiment, I'm going to wear safety goggles because I am using some things for this demonstration that I do not want in my eyes. All right, so I'm going to put my goggles on. I can pull these little straps to tighten them. And now I am being a super safe scientist. Now, you don't need to wear safety goggles for every experiment or investigation, but safety goggles should be worn when you are doing an activity with materials that could get into your eyes, like I am today. All right? So before I get started on this demonstration, I want to talk about a big word. And this is the word hypothesis. Can everybody say hypothesis? That sounds like a big word, but if we break it up, hypothesis. Now, you might be wondering, Miss Seals, what does that mean? Well, it tells us right here. It says a hypothesis is a prediction or an educated guess about what you think will happen in an experiment. So before a scientist does an experiment, they always make a hypothesis or a guess about what they think is going to happen. It's okay if your hypothesis doesn't turn out to be correct. That's okay, that's how we learn. But we will be making a hypothesis when we do an experiment, all right? So today's experiment, I'm going to show you what materials I'll be working with, and then I'm going to give you the opportunity to make a hypothesis before I start. All right, so I am going to be using a bowl, and in this bowl, I am going to put some milk. This is just regular old milk like you would drink or put in your cereal, okay? And once I have the milk in the bowl, let me fix my camera so you can see a little bit. There we go. Once I put my milk in my bowl, I'm going to be adding some drops of food coloring to the top of the milk. All right. After I do that, I'm going to take some dish soap. This is regular dish soap like you would use to wash your dishes. And I'm going to be using this Q-tip to put some drops of dish soap into the milk. And your job is to observe. Does anybody remember what we do when we observe? That's a word that we use in science all the time. Observe means to look very, very closely at something. You can also observe in different ways. Sometimes we observe by listening. Sometimes we observe by touching and feeling. We can even observe by smelling and tasting. But for this experiment, you're going to be observing by watching very closely and noticing what is happening when I put the dish soap into the milk with the food coloring, all right? And you have to observe very closely and carefully because you don't want to miss it. Now, before I do this demonstration for you, I want you to make a hypothesis or a guess about what you think is going to happen when I put the dish soap into the milk and food coloring. Okay, remember, it's okay if your hypothesis doesn't turn out to be correct. It's just a guess. So what you could do is you could pause this video right now. You could turn to your parent or your adult or your grown-up that is there helping you with your schoolwork. Maybe it's a brother or a sister. And I would like for you to share with them what you think is going to happen when I put the dish soap into the milk. If you're having trouble getting started, you could say, when Ms. Seals puts the dish soap into the milk, I think that blank, and that's how you could start your sentence. All right, pause the video now and share your hypothesis with somebody. When you're ready, you can press play. All right, so we are ready for this demonstration. So let me make sure I have this positioned so that you can see what happens. So I have my bowl. Now what I'm going to do is add my milk. And remember, we're talking about how to be safe in the science lab. So for this activity, I'm going to keep my goggles on the whole time. If you were here in the science lab with me, you would be keeping your goggles on as well. All right, before I start, I want to say one more thing, and that is when I am doing these demonstrations for you in the science lab, this is not something for you to do at home. Okay, you may think that this experiment doesn't look dangerous and none of these are things that would hurt you. You still need to make sure that you have a parent's permission before trying any of these experiments. Got it? All right, so let's get started. Here's our bowl. I'm going to add some milk. I'm going to fill it up so you can see it really well on your video. And then like I told you, the next thing I'm adding is some food coloring. So I'm going to do a couple drops of each color. There's my blue. Not really doing much yet. Kind of starting to spread out. There's my yellow. It looks orange, but the lid is yellow. That tells me it's yellow. I'm going to add some green. And there's my red. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm taking this little paper cup and my dish soap. I'm going to add a little bit to the cup so it's easy for me to dip my Q-tip into. All right, I have my Q-tip. I'm going to get some dish soap on it. And then here's the fun part. Are you ready? So I'm going to take the dish soap and put it into the food coloring. Make sure you're watching carefully or observing. Did you see what happened? Let me see if we can do it again. Let me get some dish soap on this other one. Wow, did you see what happened when I added the dish soap to the food coloring? What happens in this experiment is that the dish soap, the dish soap releases the surface tension of the milk, and that causes it to spread out. All the particles or the little pieces that make up the milk start to spread out really, really fast, and we can see those colors all mixing together. All right, so notice how I'm still wearing my safety goggles. I didn't get dish soap in my eyes, that would burn. I didn't get milk or food coloring in my eyes either. I am very safe because I was wearing these safety goggles for the entire experiment. All right, I hope that you had fun. I hope that you enjoyed your first science lab. Remember, we were identifying, discussing, and demonstrating how to be safe in the science lab. I hope that you learned something new. If you would like, what you can do when this video is over is you can take a piece of paper and you can draw a picture of what you saw in the experiment. If you don't want to do that, maybe you could talk to your mom, dad, grandma, babysitter, older brother or sister, whoever is with you for your schoolwork, and you could tell them what you observed and how Ms. Seals made sure to stay safe throughout this experiment. All right, I hope that you have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.